Good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Wells. I'm with Inceptra. We're the largest Dassault systems reseller in North America. So what we're always looking for is solutions that have a positive impact for our customers in some area of their company. And we really feel that the SEER solution from Galorath fits with this approach for quicker, more accurate estimation of composite, sheet metal, and machine parts. So I really appreciate the Galorath team for putting this webinar together, and thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Christopher Rush from Galorath. I'm going to talk to you this morning, give you an overview of the CAD to cost solutions that we provide and SEER MFG cost model, or SEER for manufacturing cost model. These solutions will more or less allow you to instantly determine costs from within CATIA. So some of the benefits of CAD to cost before we go into live demos. You're now able to get direct costs from the solid CATIA models, or the solid models. This is an accelerated process, so it frees up your estimators and resources to focus on other more critical tasks. It's a process-driven quality, so by that you now get a repeatable and accurate process to develop your estimates. You can run cost optimization and do instant trade-offs within CATIA. And it helps to expose what the cost implications are for manufacturing to help support more informed decisions. So the SEER for manufacturing cost model, or SEER MFG for short, it's often used during the design or production phases of a product or project. Excuse me. So you're using it for design to cost, trade studies, what if type analysis, looking at different manufacturing alternatives, maybe different materials, different lot quantities, different amounts of automation, all kind of analyses to help you understand the different costs. It's often used to help with cost reduction, looking at value analysis. Are you going to meet your production targets? Helping with budgets and capacity planning. A big and common use also is should cost support. So how much should we be paying for these parts? And this helps with negotiation with your customers or suppliers, depending which way you're working. And it can also be used to help with make and buy plans. So the SEER for CATIA key functionality, we have essentially the three interfaces right now. We worked with Dassault specifically to develop these. So we have an interface for composites and sheet metal and machine parts. So when you run these estimates, you get labor, material, and tooling directly from within CATIA and built up into the SEER for manufacturing cost model. As you're working with designs, you can update and refresh the estimates as the designs mature. You can create and save estimates for each part to compare and trade options. So the other thing that's really unique is you can customize these interfaces through what we call manufacturing environments. Each environment includes knowledge-based templates and rules that are unique to your environments, your factories, your labor rates, your processes, and so on. Once you set these up, you can pretty much within a couple of clicks from within CATIA build up a detailed cost estimate within SEER for manufacturing. So the first of these interfaces is the SEER Apply Cost Estimator. Once you install these solutions, you'll end up with a new toolbar inside CATIA, and you launch out the interface to run an estimate. And at that time, we extract all the ply table geometry and material data from CATIA, and it essentially automates the creation of the composite part cost estimate. The estimate itself will include placement, debulking, curing, trimming, drilling, and other operations such as NDT, finishing, and so on. A more detailed list of the operations kind of listed below. The second of the interfaces is the SEER Sheet Metal Cost Estimator. So this similar, you'll launch the application, and at that time we extract all of the sheet metal features to come up with a shape complexity factor of how complicated it is to manufacture this part. We look at the flat pattern size, the trimming borders, all of the joggles and bends, and really the user typically will select the environment and the material type and the form type and quantities, and away they go to get a full-up sheet metal estimate. So once you've selected a key form process, the pre-form, the after form, and all the detailed part finishing operations are automatically loaded as well. So you're not just getting the bend time or the stamp time, you get all the other associated processes, and a list of all of those processes are shown below. It's a very comprehensive sheet metal estimation model there. Our newest, most recent addition is for machining cost estimator. So it works in a similar way. You launch the application icon, and at that time we look at all the surfaces of the machine part, and we group all those surfaces to a machining process, or which would include rough operation processes, surface finish operations, hole drilling, and high tolerance machining requirements. And all of this is done upon launching this dialog, which happens very quickly. And again, you select the environment where you're going to make this part, how many you're going to make, and perhaps the material if that's if you want to make that change, and click estimate. Or you can modify parameters within the operation dialog itself. You can do instant trades, you can add more roughing operations, you can turn operations off, you can say, well, this area of the model is high tolerance requirements, and you could kind of do all these modifications if you need to before you run the estimate inside SEER. And again, excuse me, these estimates include the rough, high tolerance machining, part finishing operations, and a lot more. The list of machining operations we include shown below, and this list is growing as we enhance the interface moving forward. So just to summarize, these interfaces help to provide accurate estimates almost instantly. They really greatly increase your efficiency as an estimator. They remove the need for subject matter experts. Once you've created your environments, you essentially are capturing your knowledge and process data that can be reused by other engineers or estimators. So it saves you your expensive assets lots of time and creates a really effective and expedited workflow process. Helps to eliminate costly redesigns. And our customers right now are using these solutions in the estimating and sales process on a daily basis and reporting back to us the benefits of these interfaces regularly. So to show you these tools, Dan Kennedy will do some live demos so you can see them, how they're actually used.
Thanks, Dr. Rush. Hi, anybody that's out there listening. I'm Dan Kennedy. As he said, I'm the Director of Engineering Services here for Galorath. And I hope everybody can see my screen now. Is anybody want to confirm that?
Yes, we see it.
Okay. As Dr. Rush pointed out, we have 3 plugins that reside on the CATIA desktop for doing different aspects of manufacturing cost estimating. The first of which is the Apply Cost Estimator, and I'm going to illustrate that by taking a look at this aircraft wing. This is a very large wing. All the lines you see on this wing are the ply boundaries. It's a composite structure, and SEER will give you very, very detailed analysis of building a composite structure, but there's some work that has to go into it to get the deadly accurate estimates. The other plugin that I'm going to show you is our Apply Cost Estimator, our sheet metal cost estimator. A lot of aircraft are built using form sheet metal. The third one I'm going to speak to today is going to be our machining cost estimator. Many machine parts in these things. So why don't we just go back and take a quick look at what it will take to get a composites estimate. I believe that SEER has got the best, if not the world's best, estimator for composites. We have a great deal of information on what it takes to build composites, and we've integrated that into our tool. The designer has already done the work to identify the plies, the orientations, the sizes, and the materials inside this design. And as you can see, there are many plies on this in this model. Normally, to do an estimate, you would have to go and interrogate those plies and build up a ply book. To get the accuracy of the estimates you need to put the accuracy into the model. But the SEER Apply Cost Estimator makes that really very easy. Once you launch, by clicking the icon up in the corner that sits on the CATIA desktop, you will be presented with a screen to ask you a few basic questions about what you want to estimate. Aerospace projects, how you want to build them, handling up being typical, what sort of quantities you want to estimate, what part shape you've got, the complexity. You'll notice that it's already extracted all of the geometry out of the CATIA model. It'll speak to you about what your specific processes might be, how you're going to cut, how you're going to locate, how you're going to debulk, at what interval you're going to debulk, whether you're going to hot debulk, do core machining, or hot press these things, how you're going to cure them, what kind of materials you're using, whether you want an NDI, whether you want tool fab, whether you want a finishing module. It'll ask you about material details. It'll tell you about the material details that it extracted from the model. If there are holes on here, it will pick those up and ask if you would like to have a drilling estimate included on these or not. And of course the trim, the basic outer mold line trim. To get an estimate, you just tell it to go ahead and do the estimate, and you can see the countdown here. It does it really very quickly. What would normally take some time to interrogate all of those individual plies, it's already done. It's loading them into the model as we speak, and in just a few seconds we will have a model and an answer as to how much this part is likely to cost. The cost trend in this case, since something's changed since the last time I ran it, is our price is down. I suspect that's the quantities. It's amortized the setup over more pieces, and so my costs have come down. And it's just that quick to get an estimate out of SEER. If you want to see what it has done, you can tell it to show SEER, and the SEER model will pop up to you. What I like about this the most is this piece right here, where it has gone in and it has interrogated each and every one of those different plies and created the size, the orientations, and the materials that it's used for those things. The inspection and rework is built in. This came from our knowledge bases. You've got marking and packaging. If your knowledge base said you were going to do something different, you could have included those. But this is just very, very quick, very accurate way to get a cost on these models. We've got non-destructive testing included in this thing, where we've got water spray, ultrasonic inspection for this. It's got the sizes already pulled out. It knows it's going to take it to an autoclave cure. It's already calculated everything it needs to do for the bagging and the curing. The trim is in here. It knows how you're going to be trimming these. If you want to change them at this point, you can do so. You can put it on a CNC machine, 5-axis CNC. You can modify your estimate. This could have been set up with any of these as defaults. Just going to point those things out. And of course, it's got the finishing processes that are in here as well. The surfacing, the solvent cleaning, the masking, and the air gun spraying. So this wing panel has already been estimated. And all of the data that you would want to get is included in here. Anything you may need, your customers, your clients may need for doing their estimates, doing their proposals, recognizing the cost of this thing is done in a real short period of time. When you tell it okay, what it will do is it will come in here and it will save all of that data in the CATIA model, so that next time you interrogate it, it will tell you what your inputs were and what changes you might have made, what your results were and how they changed. So you'll get that instant feedback about how the design has driven the cost of these parts. The next one we do is sheet metal. We have a sheet metal aerospace module that does a very efficient job of estimating sheet metal parts for these things. Once again, you select the cost estimator. You'll get another series of questions. You'll get a pop-up box that will ask you what kind of manufacturing environment are you in, what kind of material you're using, what is your production quantity, what sort of forming process are you going to use. And as Dr. Rush pointed out, we've got a great many of these things already included. It'll ask you what kind of processing you want to do, whether you're going to do some pre-form operations like drilling and routing before you go ahead and form it, after you're going to form it, what kind of part finishing you're going to be doing on it, typically anodize, prime, paint, remove tooling ears, whether there's holes to be drilled in these things. Didn't pick those up because we picked those up in the initial. Again, these things are all selected from the environment and the set of rules that you put up on how you want to have these parts estimated. And just that quickly, you've got an estimate of how much your part should cost. You can interrogate that estimate. You can make some changes as you wish. You can do anything that SEER does, and it just takes almost all of the work of creating a SEER model away out of the equation. And once again, it gets saved into the parameters for later use. The third model that we run is the machine cost estimator. Sits inside CATIA. Once again, you simply select the icon. It launches SEER. It gives you this interrogation box. Ask what kind of manufacturing environment you're going to be working in. In this case, it's going to be a round part, so I'm going to do turning and machining. It's coming from raw stock. You could have chosen many different kinds, forgings, sand castings, investment castings. It's an alloy steel. I'm suspecting that that's what this will be built out of, what its form is. I've told it to show the stock outline so that I can see how the part fits inside my piece of stock. I can change that if I wish. It goes through and it picks out both roughing and finishing operations. Again, Dr. Chris pointed out you can change those as you might wish. The surface finish operations with the tolerances associated with those things, whether there's going to be holes drilled, and then you simply tell it to do the estimate. And in a few seconds, you've got a SEER estimate that will tell you how much your part is worth. You can open it up. You can interrogate it in any way you wish to find out where your costs are being driven from. It has loaded all of these machining steps in here, talking about the volumes that it's removing. It has just gone in and interrogated that part, found all the features, and mapped them to a manufacturing process that we have a great deal of history behind us. Once again, if you wish, you can go in and you can change any of these things once you've got your estimate. You can have your subject matter expert change these if you want. You could have turned them on in the environment. We've mentioned the environment a couple of times here. This is what the environment files look like. We've made it very easy for you to go in and set your defaults the way you want them, your tolerances the way you want them, whether you want deburr, finish, heat treat, tool fab design, your maximum hole sizes. There's a great many things you can tune in this environment to make the first pass on the SEER plugins accurate and representative of your organization. It calls up, as Dr. Rush indicated, it calls up these knowledge bases. These knowledge bases, anybody that's familiar at all with SEER knows that these are very, very valuable tools to set up how SEER estimates your parts inside your organization. So this is a real effective tool for people who want to get quick, accurate estimates out of either designs they're working on or parts that they may be quoting to the primes. They'll come in CATIA. Instead of having to have an engineer go and interrogate all these things and extract the data that you need in order to make an accurate estimate, SEER will do that for you. And it just does it very, very quickly and very, very accurately. So at that point, I've gone through and raged through all these parts. I think I'd like to open it up for questions to anybody that might want to know how to make this work for them.